You are looking live here in beautiful Salt Lake City, Utah, here at DNA HQ. This is the DNA Sports Recap. How's it going, AJ?
I'm doing great, buddy. I'm doing great. Been a very busy week for me.
That's that's good to hear.
I don't
Job
know.
security.
I don't know. Yeah,
Like an upward voice inflection.
I don't know if I've decided if it's a good thing or a bad thing. I just know that I got to push through.
It's a thing.
It's just a thing.
It's a thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we switched to dark mode on our streaming service here, and it's a little tough to get used to, but I like it better already. So it looks cooler. But once again, folks, thank you for joining us here on the live stream. If you're new here, appreciate it. Thanks for jumping in. Say hi in the chat there. Let us know where you're watching from. AJ desperately wants to know your favorite color.
I do.
And then from there, we also would love to hear from you. Please feel free to comment on anything we're chatting about. We will read it live at the show and respond to it as we go. And yeah, just have a good old time chatting there.
Yeah, bring it.
Yeah. So before we get into the show, though, we have to do our ceremonial pre-show cheers. Cheers to you.
Cheers to you guys.
We went a different direction this time.
Old fashions are, I can drink old fashions any time of the day.
Yeah, we went with a cocktail versus a just straight whiskey on ice.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a good choice. Good choice.
Good choice.
Mix it up from time to time.
Yep.
Once again, folks,
I'm with it.
Yeah. Once again, folks, for watching this on our live stream, please feel free to jump into the chat. Let us know where you're watching from, all that good stuff. And we'll go ahead and get into it. So let's go ahead and launch into the podcast, shall we?
Absolutely.
All right. Hello, Internet. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us.
The Utah Utes open this season on the road at UCLA. How do we think they're going to match up?
With the Utah Hockey Club, with a trade deadline just around the corner, who's likely to go?
And let's get to know Utah's newest Jazz man, KJ Martin.
In Major League Baseball, is a lockout inevitable? With all that and more, my name is Darren, that is AJ, and this is the DNA Sports Recap.
Roll the intro.
How's it going, AJ?
Doing great, buddy. I'm doing great. I'm ready to just jump into it.
Absolutely. Let's do that. Now, before we get into content, we'd like to encourage you guys to join the conversation. Please feel free to jump into the comments down below. If you're watching this on our live stream, please jump into the chat. We'd love to hear from you. While you're down there, please consider subscribing to the channel and smash that like button for your boy AJ right over there.
Do it. I need it.
All right, so let's go ahead and jump into some college football talk. Now, before we get into the University of Utah, this is something I just heard on the radio earlier today, and I wanted to get your take on it real fast. Before we get into Utes, some Big 12 rivalry news was announced today, and that's the fact that Tom Homo, BYU's athletic director, is stepping down at the conclusion of the 2024-25 season.
Yeah, I saw that actually.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
That is crazy, and I think some of that is going to be. I think he set BYU up in a pretty good place.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like their basketball program is obviously doing a great job. You know, he just made one of the biggest head coaching hires in all of college basketball.
Right.
You know, their football's coming off of a great season last year. And they're really in a really good position with their big money sports. And yeah, at some point you gotta call it quits.
Oh, yeah. It definitely one of the feather in his cap is going to be the fact that he brought the BYU into the Big 12, bringing them out of independence. So
yeah, football independence was a rough battle for those guys.
Yes, it was, definitely was. So yeah, congratulations to Tom Homo. We'd love to. We're looking forward to the rest of the year that you'll have with BYU, and we wish you all the best in your next endeavors.
Yeah.
With that said, here we do have a chat. We do have Greg Hawkins, channel legend, jumping in the chat here, saying jumping in from Utah.
What's up, Greg?
What's going on, Greg? Once again, folks, if you do want to jump in and join the conversation, please feel free to join us in the chat. We'd love to hear from you. All right, let's go ahead and pivot and talk a little bit about your University of Utah, shall we?
Yep, let's do it.
Okay, so the Utes have their season opener in Pasadena, California against UCLA. This UCLA team is going into their second year underneath Deshaun Foster. They are ranked 57th nationally and 15th in the Big Ten with their high school recruiting class this offseason. Last year they finished 5-7, same exact as the Utes.
Yep.
Same exact record. And the crazy thing is the exact same record, both home and road.
Yeah.
There, which was really weird.
Yeah, I saw that.
They also have a new OC, Tino Suzuri. I think that's how you say that.
Oh, yeah, I have his name on here. Tino Sunseri. Yeah.
Sunseri. Sorry.
Yep.
Sunseri or Sunseri?
Sunseri.
I don't have the N in there. So Sunseri, who gets basically $1 million a year here.
Yeah.
With this program. So honestly, I don't know, man. With a grown-ass man with a haircut like that makes me already think that he makes questionable decisions. I don't know if you've seen this dude's hair.
I have seen it.
I'm just like, okay, man. Okay. But AJ, what are your thoughts on the season opener for the Utes? Is it going to be an easy win or is it a trap game?
No, I think this is actually a fantastic game for the Utes to open up. I mean, the big thing is like you mentioned, the Bruins are really in a very similar spot as Utah coming from last year. And we're talking as far as even, they had a senior quarterback in Ethan Garbers who was with UCLA for what seemed like 462 years. He'd been there forever. He'd played a ton of games. He finally graduated. They had one of their really good sophomore quarterbacks, Justin Martin, transfer out of that program. But they did get a really nice transfer piece. Senior by the name of Joey Aguilar. He transferred in from Appalachian State. This dude's a really talented quarterback. Yeah, he is coming from the Sun Belt Conference, but I mean, he completed just over 60% of his passes for 6,000 yards and 56 touchdowns in 2 seasons with the Mountaineers. So he's got a really good chance of being that opening day quarterback for the Bruins. And I think he's going to be a great fit there, especially with this new offensive coordinator, Tino Sunseri. I mean, like you mentioned, he was actually in the NFL, he was at Indiana last year.
Mm-hmm.
And Indiana had I missed my note there. Indiana they finished 34 in offense last year. So that's a pretty successful offensive season. UCLA, obviously before that, they ranked 118th in offense. Now, to put that onto scale, that is actually a touch worse than the offensive struggles that the Utes faced last year. They were ranked 115th is what they finished the year at. So UCLA really had it bad. Those guys struggled. And they did have a pretty good defense. So they finished the season ranked 39th on defense. So we're in very similar roles as far as we have new offensive coordinators. We're bringing in new offensive schemes. Jason Beck's offensive, stats. He led that New Mexico team to a 4th overall ranking to finish the season last year. So yeah, they were in the Mountain West. A 4th overall offensive rating means you can put the offense down, right? Like you're gaining some yards. He did a great job. So I think this is just a great spot for the Utes to get the season started, man. I mean, it's going to be a great way for us to see how they stack up to a team that is built and in the Big Ten. So they've got a ton of talent. And so the talent, to see how our talent matches up with a well-recruited Big Ten team is just, we'll know right out the gate where the Utes are going to be.
Yeah, man, I'm here for it. I really am. I'd much rather have their first game be against a team like UCLA versus, no offense to people up north, but Weber State. Like, come on now, what are we doing there?
Yeah.
Or Southern Utah University. It's like, I want to see a not a legitimate threat, like a conference threat game right out the case, but I would like to have them play somebody that is in a similar situation to them. And we can kind of see more of what we're supposed to see throughout the year versus waiting another week for them to play somebody else who potentially will be better. In this case, you actually drop off. They play, I can't remember who they play in the second week.
Second week, they got Cal Poly.
Yeah, Cal Poly. So that team's no slouch either, but it's definitely going to be, the Utes did a good job of making sure their non-conference games are not layovers.
Yeah. I mean, Cal Poly's an easier game. That one's here, and then they got Wyoming, and then they get right into the Big 12 schedule with Texas Tech. So
I don't know, man. That Wyoming game, that's
Wyoming is scary, man.
Yeah, but that will be a good judge for the Utah to see how well they've improved over last year.
Yeah,
I think coming out with this game coming right out of the gate against UCLA, we'll be able to identify some things. Obviously, the Utah team had some backslides due to lack of control over the offensive side of the ball, and I'm expecting their improvements to be substantially greater than what UCLA is dealing with. I think they are going to see improvements this year with a new offensive coordinator and a new offensive scheme, but I don't think that the jump in improvement is going to be as high for UCLA as I'm expecting it to be for Utah.
I agree. And especially because Jason Beck did bring his quarterback with him to this program. And I'm not saying he's going to for sure be the day one starter, right? We don't know, but we don't know. The fact is we have some really talented quarterbacks that are still on there. Obviously he knows the scheme. But the fact is we brought in some really talented players. Bringing Nate Johnson back really helps.
Mm-hmm.
because the dude it fits perfectly into this offensive scheme. I'm so looking forward to seeing this team get on the field and hopefully get some offensive production, because Utah has a great defense. They're always going to have a great defense. If we can go out there and put some points on the board, it's going to be a really hard team to beat.
I agree. We want to hear from you folks. Once again, let us know in the comments down below what you think with regards to the University of Utah and drawing the Bruins, the first game out. We'd love to hear from you. Let us know what you think on that. Drop us a like on this channel. Check out our merch store down below. And more stuff coming down there every week. So be sure to be on the lookout for that. And we'd love to hear from you. So let us know what you think.
Absolutely.
All right. We also have another comment here from Greg. Let's go ahead and jump into that. Greg, I simply am not going to do it again this year.
I'm not predicting anything from Utah until I see the offense in action. You know what, Greg? I don't even blame you, man.
Fair enough, Greg.
I'm just the eternal optimist for Utah football.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure Utah's going to win a national championship every single year.
Yeah. You said in one of our videos last year, after the win over.
Absolutely. They're going all the way
over Baylor. Yeah. You're like all the way to a national title. I'm like,
guess how that worked out for me, Greg.
Pump the brakes there. Yeah, I love it, man. I love it. So we'd love to hear from you. Let us know what you guys think in the comments down below. Let's go ahead and pivot on over and talk a little bit about our Utah Hockey Club, shall we?
Let's do it.
Okay. We have a little thing for that. Let's do the thing.
Let's do the thing.
All right, so we are on our Four Nations break right now, which is where Four Nations, that includes USA, Canada, Finland, and Sweden, all have their nations teams play against each other in a little tournament. So right now we are on that break, and it's a perfect time because we're about, which actually is tough for us Utah Hockey Club fans. We have we have players on the Finland team and on the USA team. So,
right.
And I think we play each other the first game out too. I think we play Finland first. So
that sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds about right. But anyway, so we have a break coming up until then, and we're less than about a month away from the trade deadline. Folks are looking at this team's depth that we have on the blue line, which we did not have not even a month ago. We were talking about how we need to get some depth on the blue line. We need people to get healthy. Well, now they're healthy, and now this team could potentially trade away some of that depth on the blue line. We did get an article there from Yahoo Sports where it talks about 4 different players that they would see likely for the Utah Hockey Club to move. I thought it'd be a good subject of conversation to kind of dive into that. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so let's go ahead and first talk about, there's 4 players. The first one they brought in was Alex Kerfoot. So Alex Kerfoot is on the second year with his team. Yeah. He played in 56 games this year, 7 goals, 9 assists for a total of 16 points. Since signing with the Arizona Coyotes, it seems his plus minus has gone from a plus 19 in 21 and 22 to a plus 8 in the 22-23 with a minus 15 since he was in Arizona, and now right now he's sitting at a minus 10.
Yeah.
When it comes to the plus minus. Now, it might be benefit him to have a change of scenery. I know we're going from change of scenery already from Arizona to Utah, but
he had an internal change of scenery.
Yeah,
but maybe okay.
But maybe a change of scenery within like the team itself would be a good thing for him. Because ever since he's been with Arizona, he went from a positive plus minus to a negative plus minus, and it might benefit him to see some of that change there. The article mentions that the Oilers, Avalanche, and Devils are potential landing spots for this guy.
Yeah, no, Kerfoot's done a great job, and he added some great depth. While we did have some of those injuries, we struggled to get Marino back, and we leaned on him pretty heavy during some of those stretches, and we may not have been done. We obviously had a bunch of overtime losses that really stung because we were so close in some of those games. But I don't know. I think the Kerfoot side, I don't know if I see him actually moving. I feel like they're going to need this depth to continue to push into the playoffs.
Yeah, I just don't know how much he's really affecting the team right now with that negative plus minus being negative 10.
But they were going through a really tough stretch with players just being on the bench, with players being injured.
Yeah, and it is an improvement from the year before.
Yeah,
so it is a third of improvement. So
yeah,
the other one is going to be Nick Judstab. I don't think I'm saying that right, and I think that's a Jug Stab.
Jugstad, yeah.
Jugstad. Autocorrect, dude. It kills me every time. Jugstad. Jeez. You should see how this autocorrected. We'll put a J there. Jugstad.
Hey, you don't. I've been killed by autocorrect on this show so many times.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. But anyway, he signed as a free agent with Arizona back in 2022, and he was traded to Edmonton and then signed back with the team in free agency July 1st, 2023. In the 48 games that he's played, he's had 5 goals, 10 assists for 15 points, and is sitting at a -8 on the plus minus. This Yahoo article mentions that the Maple Leafs, Panthers, and Wild would be a good landing spot for them. I don't know on this one, man. I'm actually a little less on board with Nick being traded than I am with Alex Kerfoot. I would have to say that if I had to choose between the two, which one I'd rather have stick with the team, I think I'd prefer to have Nick there. He seems to just in his limited amount of games that he's played in comparison, it seems like his overall production is higher.
Yeah, he has been really effective in some of those minutes. He's done a really good job taking advantage of opportunities that he's been getting.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
So the article also mentioned another couple players there.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the other ones that it mentioned is Karel Vejmelka, and he's obviously the backup. I think this is going to be a tough decision for Utah, right? I mean, Connor Ingram is currently injured. He took I don't know if you saw this, but he took a pretty heavy shot from Alex Ovechkin, which really puts Karel right back into the starting lineup. So, he's kind of provided a bunch of stability in the net for Utah hockey, because Connor Ingram struggled early in the season. It's funny because we did a video on him. He kind of struggled. They pulled him. They switched him for Karel. And then Connor Ingram came back, had a bunch of really good games.
Yeah.
But Vejmelka, he's kind of one of those guys where you're like, well, do we really need him? Is this the guy for the future as a backup? Because Connor Ingram has shown these kind of flashes of brilliance where it's like, this is our guy.
Right.
But so has Karel, right? Like this season, he's got a .909 save percentage, only given up 2.57 goals against average. So he's done really good. I mean, Ingram, since his return in January, has posted a .261 goals against average, which is obviously a little worse, but not bad. And then he's also got a .905 save percentage. So they're kind of hand in hand on those statistics. I feel like if you've decided that Connor Ingram, with the statistics that he has on the season, is worth keeping, why would you not keep Vejmelka?
Yeah, see, I like what you're saying there, and just hands down, Veggie is the guy that's going to decide everything.
Yeah,
Veggie is going to be, like we always talk about on the Jazz side of things with its ownership group. What's going to be the move that proves what they're going to do.
Yeah,
right. Veggie is the move for me. If they trade Veggie, then to me that tells you that they're full on tank mode. Because then all you have is Ingram, and then who do you have behind him that could potentially come up after Veggie? What you have, who was it? Stuart Skinner as a backup there at that point.
I think so. Yeah.
So then that's the young guy. So you're really kind of just not you don't have any depth at the in goal. So for me, that kind of just spells that okay, they keep Veggie. That means that they are going for it. If they trade him, it's Tank City, which either one wouldn't surprise me with this ownership group right now. But I think that would be the linchpin there. Which way he goes would decide Utah's fate, I think, going forward.
Because you trade Veggie, and you're absolutely right. You just leave this team really exposed, right?
Yeah.
Your backup at that point is going to be a younger guy that is not going to have a ton of starts. If you're trying to win, you got to stay with him, right? Show confidence in him. They did early in the season when Ingram was going through a rough patch. Continue to show confidence in him, and I think they'll be just fine.
Yeah, just keep the tandem roll going, man. Ride the hot glove, as they say.
And that's the thing, is everybody's going to have down parts in their season, and if you've got a quality backup, it's going to lead to a lot more wins than just moving guys for virtually no reason.
Yeah, Vejmelka has had expressed interest from the Pittsburgh Penguins, so that might be a potential trade partner there, unless we get another goalie that's league ready at this point. I think that one's, like I said, not one that we should be even consider moving.
Yeah.
Anyway, who else we got?
The other one listed in that same article is Ian Cole.
Okay.
Obviously veteran defenseman. He logs big minutes. He does great in kill penalties, and this guy can help any single team that he goes to. That's just who he is. Utah inked him. They brought him in on a 1-year, $3.1 million contract. So this guy's he's done a really good job, again, kind of filling in, and he's just been there, man. He's really just kind of checked all the boxes for Utah as far as when he's not providing offense, he's physical. He's always there. I don't know. I think if you move this guy again, like you said, it kind of shows you that they might be looking to take this team in a different direction.
Right.
So
I think if there is going to be a player that's going to be moved, I think it's probably Ian Cole's going to be the one, or maybe it's some of our other veteran guys like Spicy Tuna. Potentially could be, just simply because, like, you know, that you've got to, depending on where this team's going to end up at the end of the year, they're going to need, you know, to get some time for these younger players, you know, and we have all these draft assets that we're not moving, that we haven't moved yet, that maybe they're sitting on. Who knows what Armstrong's thinking?
Yeah.
But I think out of all the four that we've mentioned, I think Cole's the most likely to be traded. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of been mentioned that, you know, clubs like Tampa Bay, Florida, the Red Wings all might have some interest in him. So if it's going to be going, you know, you wouldn't mind seeing him go to, you know, one of those franchises that is winning, you know, has won a championship in the last few years in the Lightning. So
yeah, we'll post the link to this article down in the description below, so be sure to check it out if you'd like to read the full article there. We've just mentioned only 4 of the 9 expiring contracts the Utah Hockey Club has coming up at the end of the year. Yeah. So 9 unrestricted free agents. There's also links to someone, like there's also some additional moves outside. So I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought there. Is there another move that we haven't mentioned that you guys potentially could see as being something that this team would do? We'd love to hear from you on that. Let us know if you got any other trade rumors that you've heard in regards to the Utah Hockey Club in regards. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go ahead and pivot on over and talk a little bit about staying with the Utah Hockey Club. Got a question here. We got another article from the hockeynews.com. This says, should the Outlaws be buyers at the deadline?
Yes. Sorry, let me get my.
I'd like to point out that I just called them the Outlaws, and you didn't even miss a beat. You just rolled right through.
I was panicking, right? Because I was like, I know that I put this in here somewhere. I just don't remember where I put it.
I'm just like, I mentioned them. The names are the Outlaws, and you're just like, yeah,
Outlaws, go for it.
All right, so all right, here we are. But yeah, so again, this is an article from the UtahHockeyNews.com. They put an article up this week about the Utah Hockey Club and how they should be buyers at the deadline, which is something I really think is a good idea. This was a thought I thought that was worth discussing on this channel. Right now, as it sits right now, the Utah Hockey Club is 6 points out from the final wild card spot in the Western Conference at 55 points right now. What do you think, man? I mean, did you give this article a read? Do you think that they're spot on here on what they're trying to do?
I did give it a read, and I think they've got great points, right? The fact is this is a young franchise in terms of we just barely got them, and Utah hockey fans, to give them that first season and to make the playoffs would be huge for just continuing to attract hockey fans into the stadium, right? They need it. They need this for what they're trying to grow here. And I think it's really important that they do make a push and they do go out there and they get some players that are going to help make this team better day in and day out.
Yeah. Out of the players listed that are potentials for them that they said that they should go after. And we'll again link this article in the description down below. The one that jumps out to me is Jake Evans. He's the only one on that list that had a positive plus minus with a +2.
Yeah.
He's in the 56 games that he's played. He's got 11 goals, 16 assists for a total of 27 points. Now with hockey, I'm kind of not so sure on the plus minus versus the points and how that all jives. So I could be wrong on this one.
Yeah.
But of all the players they mentioned, I think that's the one that I think would be the best option. They did mention kind of like a go for broke, go all in type scenario in this article. And I can't remember what the player's name is off the top of my head. I believe what was his name?
Dylan Cousins.
Dylan Cousins. Thank you. His stats were not much different than Jake Evans. Like his statistical, I mean, he's played in a few more games, but other than that, it was pretty similar. I don't know. I just think that I think to your point, it is more important for this team to kind of push the chips in the middle, make some big trades with all that draft capital they've been sitting on, And if you can put this team into the playoffs, this young team in the playoffs, first year you're in Utah, that'd be nothing but to benefit this team going forward. So I don't know why you would want to do anything to disrupt that. I don't think they should be sellers. I definitely think they should be buyers at the deadline.
Yep, I totally agree. And honestly, I think Jake Evans is, like you mentioned, I think he's just such a great fit for this team. I mean, I think he would be a good one to go after because, he is still relatively young at 28. He was kind of a later pick. He went in the 7th round, but I feel like this guy could really add a ton to this team. And just even if he sits for a little while, I don't know. I like that pickup.
Yeah, I think it's the right move. We'd love to hear from you folks. Let us know what you think in the comments down below. Do you think this team, again, just being just a few points out of the final wildcard spot, do you think they should make a push for it to be in the NHL playoffs as a wildcard spot? We'd love to hear from you. Let us know what you think in the comments down below. Once again, folks, we'd love to hear from you. Let us know what your take is down there. Once again, we did just drop a bunch of new merch in our merch store. Be sure to check it out. It'll be listed down below. We also have this lovely logo on a hoodie, so be sure to check it out. We have our own channel specifically for the Utah Hockey Club DNA. You're probably watching this on that channel right now. We'd like to appreciate you for watching. Thanks you for turning in. Be sure to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, so you don't miss out on all of our Utah Hockey Club content that we're going to be putting on Utah Hockey DNA.
Absolutely.
And yeah, check it out. Check out the hoodie right down there. It's pretty sweet.
Boom.
Love to hear from you on it. Okay, so when it comes to that, do you anything else you have on hockey there?
No. Like I said, we're going into the break, so it'll be interesting to see kind of what they do in the next couple of weeks.
Pause on that for a second. What actually, let's hit some comments, and then I want to get one more thing on your feedback there. The Outlaws, yeehaw! Let's see here. Can't wait to get the official NHL branded Outlaws chewing tobacco. Heck yeah.
That's all I need in my life.
This town ain't big enough for the two of us. The outlaw. This is outlaw country. That's right. That's great. Appreciate it, Greg. That's awesome. Side note on that. Okay, so why wasn't Clayton Keller on Team USA?
Because he got snubbed, man.
Yeah,
just straight up snubbed, especially after the season he's having.
He's having great. Technically, Dylan Guenther is our top goal scorer, but as far as points, man, Keller's killing it, man.
Yeah.
Why did he not make it a Team USA? I don't know. There's something I didn't like. And so snub on, not surprising that a team from Utah is getting snubbed when it comes to the All-Star thing. What do you think about this?
Probably because we don't have a name.
That might be part of it. The Utah Hockey Club. What do you think about this, man? This format for instead of having an All-Star game.
I don't know I don't know much about this format. I read it that's what the break is the Four Nations thing, and I was like, I guess that's different than just a standard. But it's kind of cool because they're going to be able to showcase players from other countries that aren't necessarily in the NHL, right?
Yeah, no, I think it's great. Yeah. I think it's a brilliant idea. I think it's better than the Pro Bowl. No one watches the Pro Bowl. No one even takes that game seriously.
I don't even know when the Pro Bowl is.
It's usually a week after the Super Bowl, I believe.
The week before. It's actually
the week before. Sorry. Yes.
Okay, I guess I technically know when it is, but who turns on the Pro Bowl to watch it?
Yeah, and then obviously the NBA All-Star game. Heck, you were there when it was in Utah. It's kind of
horrible.
Yeah, everybody watches the 3-point contest, and that's pretty much it.
They're doing everything they can to try to make it watchable, but it's just been really bad.
Yeah, and then in baseball, pretty much everybody likes to watch the home run derby, but even that game's a little bit more watched because baseball is very similar.
Yeah.
Into the contact's not really there, so it's not, and the pitchers aren't throwing 5 innings. Everybody gets 1 inning.
Yeah, so 1 inning,
kind of like a bullpen,
8 pitches.
Yeah. So, but it's at least a funner game to watch. But yeah, I like it, man. I think if your viewership is down for your mid-season classic there, why not switch it up? Try to do something like this.
Give it a run.
Yeah. Let's see here. We got one more. Let's see here. Outlaws is objectively terrible. I don't know, man. You got AJ over there thinks it's a good fit, man. I don't know. He's liking that one. Did you hear what name was the lead after the 4-game vote? No, I did not hear which game was the lead after the 4-game vote. I'm leaning towards Outlaws. That's the one I'm thinking is what it's going to be, because that's what I've heard, but I haven't seen anything official.
Yeah.
Joe, let us know if you've heard something on that, because honestly, I'm just not a fan of that logo. I'm okay with the name. It's the logo they put on there. I don't know if you caught our
logo's bad.
Yeah, I don't know if you caught our video last week, Joe, on that, but yeah, we broke down. It looks like it's just a 2K creative player logo type thing. It just did not look great. But yeah, we'd love to hear from you, man. If you have anything inside info on that, let us know. We'd love to hear on that for sure. But yeah, once again, folks, we want to hear from you. Let us know in the comments down below what you think in regards to Utah Hockey Club. Have you seen anything that when it comes to the trades and stuff like that? Have you seen any rumors or anything that you think are worth discussing? We'll jump on and talk about it next week.
Absolutely.
All right, let's go ahead and pivot on over and talk a little bit about the Utah Jazz, shall we?
Yep, let's get it.
All right. Hang on a second. Where is it? Dark mode's throwing me off here. There it is. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the newest Jazz man, KJ Martin. So KJ is a 24-year-old, 6'6" forward, not a guard, 6'6" forward.
Yeah.
First issue there. Now he is in his 4th year of NBA time. He spent the first 3 years with the Houston Rockets. 2022 and 2023 was his best season, where he averaged 13 points a game at 57% shooting from the field and 31% shooting from 3. He has averaged 4 rebounds and 1 assist per game for a negative 4.5 on the plus minus that year, which isn't great.
Not great.
But this year his efficiency is up. He's shooting 62% from the floor and 38% from 3. So tell us your thoughts, AJ, on the new guy, KJ.
I really like this pickup. I like his age. He's right in that range that we're kind of looking to get guys in. He has had a couple of full 82 game, or he had one 82 game season in 22 and 23. And the season before, he played in 79 of 82, which is really, really important, because what we're going to need when we get to that point is guys that can stay on the floor and actually contribute, right? We've dealt with a ton of injuries over the last few years. Some of them are injuries, some of them are actual injuries. So I feel like this guy's just an absolute freak athlete, right? I mean, if you've watched him, he was in the dunk contest when it was here in Salt Lake City. The dude can just get up. I think I could really see him getting some playing time with this Jazz team. I think at 24, you're going to try to put him out on the floor and see if he can use that. Can he stay on that 38% 3-point shooting number for this year? It's a great question. I mean, I don't know how many attempts he has, but the fact is that is if it's on a limited number of reps, can he keep it up? Because if he can keep it up at 38% at 6'6", he's a pretty solid defensive player. He's obviously got elite length. He's going to have the ability to play for somebody who's going to be able to contribute at 6'6" if he can keep shooting, even in the high 30s from the 3-point line. So I feel like the Jazz can absolutely get some value out of him. I mean, there's no doubt there. I don't know if I see him as a long-term stay, because if he plays too well, depending on the direction the Jazz are going, they're going to turn him into 42.5 fifth round or second round picks.
There you go. There you go.
5th, 6th, 7th, whatever.
Yeah, I think you're spot on there, man. I think he's a perfect fit for this team right now.
Yep.
I think it's just another body that we need to have on the floor to basically just kind of prove his value, so we can package him into not a trade deadline package, but probably an off-season trade on this one.
I think he's off. I think he's out of contract at this year. I don't.
Oh, that's right. His contract expires.
His contract's expiring. So
yeah. I think that's probably what's going to happen. I think that he's going to get some playing time, and he's going to be able to pivot that off to something of value. Whether it's probably not with the Utah Jazz, though.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. We'd love to hear from you folks on that. Let us know what you think in the comments down below. The newest addition to the Utah Jazz, Mr. KJ Martin. Yeah, it's interesting, man. Do you have the full trade for this one? Like, will we actually trade it away on this one?
I don't.
I can't remember,
because the trade was like 3 teams switched 4 different times.
Yeah,
I don't have it in front of me.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just an interesting one, because it's something that happened like literally right after we recorded last week.
Every time.
It's just kind of how that works. Yeah, so it'd be interesting to see who we ended up, see if he gets any time on the floor. But yeah, we'd love to hear from you guys. Let us know what you think in regards to KJ Martin, and whether or not you think he's gonna make the team or not.
Yeah.
Once again, folks, if you're watching this on YouTube here, we'd like to appreciate you. Thank you very much for tuning in. We did just recently create a channel for your Utah Jazz content called Utah Jazz DNA. If you're watching this on our main channel, DNA Sports Recap, be sure to check out Utah Jazz DNA. This is our channel specifically for Utah Jazz content. all of our content for the Jazz will be posted here first, so be sure you check it out. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We'll be giving one of those statement jerseys away on this once this channel hits 1,000 subscribers. So be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on that.
Yep. Check out the merch store.
That's right. Check it out down below. We got the Hot Rod Hundley t-shirt we just added there.
Yep.
We need to switch the color up, man. I don't like the color.
The color of the actual shirt?
Yeah. I think the color of the shirt needs to be changed.
I think it had to be darker because the letters are white.
We'll look into it. But yeah. So anyway, we'd love to hear from you guys. Let us know if you got anything in regards to the merch store. If you want us to add anything, subtract anything. I think I actually still want to do an old school Donovan Mitchell one. I think that would still be cool.
I like Don. I love Don, man.
You know, maybe like the 45 with the I across it.
Yeah.
You know, I think that'd be pretty slick. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let us know what you think in the comments down below for sure. All right. You got anything else on the Utah Jazz?
No, man. That's what we got.
All right. Not a whole lot to talk about for the Utah Jazz right now. Unfortunately.
No, I mean, we're heading into the All-Star break soon, and the Jazz are losing like they're supposed to. They're playing. They're on a couple game stand with the Lakers and the Clippers.
We did beat the Golden State Warriors in overtime, though.
I know, and it made me angry.
We
don't need to win that game.
Yeah, if you're gonna push it in overtime, you got to lose, guys.
Yes, just lose.
That's fine.
You're supposed to lose in regular time,
yeah. And then we lost to the Phoenix Suns with what's his name, former Jazz guy,
Grayson Allen,
just hitting coming with a
bombing threes. Yeah,
coming with clutch threes to win the game. So good for him, man.
Yeah,
glad to see Iska still out in the league, earning that paycheck, man. Congrats, that's awesome. All right, well, let's go ahead and pivot on over and talk a little bit about Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got a few subjects we want to hit on for Major League Baseball. By the way, AJ.
Yes.
With the Super Bowl concluded, you know what that means, right?
Spring training.
Yeah, man. Pitchers and catchers reported.
Yeah.
They are back, man. Baseball's back. Before we get into the content, folks, we would like to encourage you to join the conversation in the comments down below. While you're down there, please consider subscribing to the channel and smash that like button for your boy AJ over there.
Smash it.
On this channel, we're giving the first $500 that we earn in AdSense revenue back to y'all. So if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our giveaway. And like you said, smash that like button for sure.
Yep.
All right. So first subject we want to talk about here on that is going to be, this is an unfortunate article from Evan Drellich of The Athletic, where he stated in an article that basically kind of an MLB lockout is likely.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, the fact is Major League Baseball is, I mean, it's facing a major shift in media rights model, just as regional sports networks, they're really collapsing, right? Like they're not going to be around much longer. They're all kind of,
Bally Sports went in bankruptcy and it got bought out by FanDuel.
Yeah.
And they all 11 teams had to renegotiate their regional sports contracts for that. It's kind of a mess.
Yeah. I mean, and it's just going to kind of continue to happen. I think the fact is with cable subscriptions period are really declining now.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, the MLB really has to consider taking their media rights back and moving kind of a direct to consumer streaming model, right? MLB TV, you got to eliminate blackouts but doing all of that pretty much reduces your revenue, right? Like you're taking all of that major sport, all of that broadcasting revenue out because you're getting rid of regional sport networks. So I don't know, man. I think they have to do something. But like you said, I mean, I think lockout's pretty much inevitable at this point.
Yeah. So just to kind of give you an idea, the current CBA is up at the end of the 2026 season, and December 2nd is when the current CBA expires. It's a big issue right now because, like you mentioned, the owners are wanting a salary cap because of all the reasons you just mentioned.
Yeah.
With the salaries continue to go increase. That's awesome.
I don't know what just happened.
I'm getting a Zoom call. Why am I getting a Zoom call? Okay. Hang on, guys. Hang on. Okay. I don't know what that was about.
What is going on today, man? We just can't keep
know,
it
man.
together.
Zoom is like my work phone. I don't know who the heck's calling me for work at 8 o'clock at night. That's fantastic. But anyway, so where were we here? So yeah, the MLB currently has a collective bargaining agreement right now that expires in December of 2026, which is after the 2026 season. One of the biggest issues right now is that the owners want a salary cap because, like you mentioned, with decreasing revenues, regional sport network channels kind of going away, and the ones that did sign contracts, they had to renegotiate new ones. And obviously, the Players Association have always been opposed to any type of salary cap whatsoever. So if the ownership group wants to get a salary cap in place, because with the decreasing revenues and decreasing money coming in, the only way for that to happen is with some kind of work stoppage. The Orioles owner, who just bought the team, came out and said he wished that baseball had a salary cap. The issue is going to be the difference in between the highest and the lowest spenders. That's kind of like in the middle there. You have 11 teams that lost their regional sports deal with Valley Sports going into bankruptcy. And the future of that is kind of creating an ununified like TV deal that MLB is going to have to structure themselves. With that also means less money coming in than they had previously. And when they currently have active contracts, some of them very long MLB contracts for these players, that's going to mean less money for the owners. And what that actually ends up being is the actual value of the teams are going to decrease. Right now in Major League Baseball, if you look at it, the team's values for most Major League Baseball teams, not the Dodgers, not the Yankees, not in some of the other like larger brands, right?
Yeah.
They're not that much more valuable than NHL teams.
Right.
So baseball payroll is much higher than hockey payroll. So it's very much tied to those TV deals that you mentioned. So yeah, I think we're getting to the position there where the players are not going to want a salary cap, and MLB is going to want one bad enough to where they're going to kind of stick their hands in the dirt there and not move on from it. So I don't know, man. I think this article could be right. We could be sitting there in a situation where we have no choice but to experience a lockout.
Yep. And I think I could see the owners kind of pushing for, and what I read was the owners may push for salary compression rather than salary cap, right? So it would pretty much lower the salary or the luxury tax threshold while attempting to implement a soft salary floor. So pretty much putting in, you've got to be here. You don't, your taxes only hit here, versus because the Players Association is never going to let them. They're never going to agree to say there's a cap on it.
Yeah.
Why would they?
I don't know. I don't know why you wouldn't. If I was the Players Association, you know what I'd do? I'd go in and say $150 million salary floor, $400 million salary cap. What team's going to hit $400 million in the salary cap in its salary?
Right. Oh, you're saying as far as the Players Association negotiating that in.
Yeah. You want a salary cap? Cool. $400 million.
400 million. Exactly.
The Dodgers right now are at 304. And the only reason why they're that high, check out our previous video where we talked about how nobody else is signing the players. So why not the Dodgers? So that's why we're talking about that. I think it'd be a smart idea to give them the option, but I like the idea of salary compression versus, because the luxury tax, man, I think the Dodgers right now are going to be paying over $550 million for payroll this year on a payroll of $304 million with all the penalties they have to pay and going over for more than 3 years and stuff like that. And the other teams are just sitting on that money. So something's got to change. I kind of like the idea of a compression. I think that's probably a good idea.
Yeah. I mean, I just think that the Players Association is pretty much going to argue these owners knowingly overspent on all these players, despite knowing that you have financial uncertainty, right? There's teams that are paying too much for players, knowing, oh, hey, we might have some issues with, all of our media contracts. That's not the players' fault. No. You know what I mean? And the Players Association's like, hey, you knew this was coming. You knew lost it. You still spent it.
Did they know?
Yeah, but I mean,
did they know that Valley Sports was going to go bankrupt?
I mean, maybe not, right? But the fact is once it does happen, I mean, there's going to be players that are going to be overpaid in those scenarios, and that's going to be the Player Association's argument, back to the league.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Let's hit a couple comments here. First one is going to be from Jonathan Blazer there. Is MLB back next week? Pitchers and catchers reported this week. You might see some inter-squad games happening as early as next week, especially with the Cubs and the Dodgers having to fly to Tokyo to play. And I believe Joe Fisher is saying February 27th is the Phillies' first spring training game. Are you a Phils fan, Joe? Love to chat with you about that, man. Let us know for sure. So what? I think they have a great team, man.
Oh, the Phillies look good.
They look really, really good.
They're one of those scary teams that just kind of continue to be scary. Like you don't want to see the Phillies in the first round.
No,
nobody wants to play the Phillies in the first round.
No, and that I think they have one of the best top three. You got Kyle Schwarber, Trey Turner, and Bryce Harper.
Yeah,
that's a 1-2-3 punch. Is pretty legit. But anyway, we'd love to hear from you folks. Let us know what you think in the comments down below. Is this team is this sport fast to a work stoppage after the 2026 season? We'd love to hear from you in the comments down below. Let us know what you think on that. Yeah, it's very interesting, man. I think there's going to be more to this, and hopefully we get a resolution before, but knowing the history of this league, probably not going to happen. So yeah, look forward to it. Hopefully the Dodgers win 2 more World Series and we'll be good,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That's what happened last time when the players went into it with a season got suspended. The Dodgers had like the best record in baseball, and then they did the stupid whoever was in the first got a playoff, but then whoever won the second half of the season got to go to the playoffs, and then it was dumb. It was really stupid. Anyway, let's go ahead and pivot on over and talk a little bit more about this here when it comes to Major League Baseball. And this is going to be we just can't have an episode, AJ. We can't have an episode where we don't at least talk once about the Dodgers.
No, and it's mostly just because they continue to be in the news every single day.
Yeah, well, the first 2 things we need to cover is they re-signed Kike Hernandez to a $6.5 million deal. So glad they got that figured out. And then they also re-signed the GOAT, first ballot Hall of Famer, Clayton Kershaw himself, also re-signed, which is really weird because he doesn't actually have an official contract signed yet, but he's at Camelback Ranch throwing right now. Yeah, he's not technically a part of the team, which is kind of unique to see. But anyway. So back to the Dodgers there, and there's a little thing that came out this week that MLB might be playing favorites with the Ohtani rule.
Yeah, it does. It does definitely seem like they could be playing favorites, considering there's all of. I mean, how many players in Major League Baseball does the Ohtani rule apply to, Darren?
Shohei Ohtani.
Weird.
So, do you have the details on the rule itself?
I do have the details on the rule. So, just in case you guys aren't aware, the Ohtani rule is pretty much the pitcher can remain in the game as a designated hitter, even if they are replaced on the mound by another pitcher. This rule is kind of a novelty used in the 2022 All-Star game. It was made official in 2022 when the designated hitter rule was extended to both leagues. And it was pretty much created specifically for Shohei Ohtani because he was a fantastic pitcher and a great hitter for the Angels. We all know that Ohtani hasn't pitched yet, but or since he's been with the Dodgers. But
so do you understand the criteria for what qualifies a two-way player, which is basically what it's really called, the two-way player rule, but it is the Shohei Ohtani rule. But do you know what the criteria is?
I know the criteria is you have to pitch so many innings, make so many at-bats, and then you have to be with the team for a year or something like that, right?
The rule is that it has to happen either this year or the previous season, right? So the criteria is that he has to have pitched at least 20 innings and played at least 20 games as a DH or position player with at least 3 plate appearances in each one of those games, in either this season or the previous season. Well, he did not pitch last year.
So guess what?
So that would mean that he would not have two-way status. The real reason why you want two-way status for Shohei Ohtani is so you can carry an extra arm in the bullpen, right? Or an extra arm in the rotation or an extra person on the bench. He's not taking up 2 roster spots.
Okay.
So that's really what the Ohtani rule is meant to do. It's meant to not penalize a team, because remember, this rule created when he was an Angel.
Yeah.
For the Dodgers, they wouldn't have cared about this rule. And honestly, it's still stupid, but basically the change in the rule is now Major League Baseball has come out and said, just kidding. It's not in the previous year. It's in the previous
not 1 year,
2 years. It's in the previous 2 years. So if you did reach that all requirement in the last 2 years previously to this season, then you can still be a two-way player. What's your thought on this? Do you think it's just them being nice to the Dodgers, or they just want Shohei on?
There is no other explanation other than they want Shohei on the mound once he's ready to pitch in 2025.
I think it's really funny because do you see the interview on Dodgers Territory?
I did.
So Foul Territory has another channel called Dodgers Territory with Clip Macias and Alana Rizzo. Shout out to the real FRG. When it comes to that, they interviewed Andrew Friedman on here, and they asked him about this, and he didn't seem to know.
Oh, really?
Like in the interview, he had no idea what they were talking about. So it seems like MLB made this rule change and didn't let the Dodgers know. So it's kind of like the Dodgers are like, wait, what? So like,
but the Dodgers had to know, like maybe the Dodgers just weren't concerned about the rule really applying to make Shohei ineligible then, right?
yeah. So now when it comes to that, I think it's a big part of this is really the league kind of favoring the Dodgers and wanting to give them every opportunity they can to be successful, right? And honestly, as a Dodgers fan, you know what I'm going to say? I actually 100% agree. I think I'm agreeing with the naysayers in this one. This is something that is not necessary. Absolutely not necessary. So it's a minor inconvenience for this Dodgers team. Yeah, if they were the lowly A's or the Angels or something like that, yeah, this would be a problem. But this is the Dodgers, dude. Like, so what if he has to so what if he's not going to pitch until May anyway?
Right.
You don't think he's going to have 20 plate appearances where you have at least 3 at-bats in those 20 games? Like, you don't think he's going to hit that requirement? And then when he comes back as a pitcher, here's an novel idea. Don't have him DH when he's back as a pitcher. Let him spend 2 weeks getting used to pitching again. Let him acclimate to being on the mound, acclimate to being on the mound at Dodger Stadium, and let him just be a pitcher for 2 weeks. That's not going to hurt this team.
Right. Because once he hits so many innings pitched, and he's obviously going to already have his innings, he's good and the rule doesn't apply anyway, right?
Yeah, he's got to pitch at least 20 innings and then at least 20 games.
Gotcha.
So it's not really going to hurt this team at all. And knowing this team, there's probably a bunch of pitchers that are going to be hurt, that are going to be going up and down anyway.
Give it a week.
Yeah, we already have Evan Phillips that's down already. So it's like first day, right on the IL. Thanks. So I don't know, man. I think that this is Major League Baseball just doing too much. And I think it is kind of favoring the Dodgers. And I think it's a bad look because the Dodgers don't really need the help, man. This rule isn't really, going to affect that team as much. I think they're just changing this rule to make sure that Ohtani can, like you said, give Ohtani the best chance to pitch if he wants to pitch.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's 100% what it was.
Let's go ahead and jump into some of the comments here. We actually have another comment from Joe. Joe Fisher said, yes, I'm 45 minutes from Philly sports complex and the Phillies fan in all sports. Nice. Congrats on your Eagles winning the Super Bowl there, man. Congrats, dude. They just handled the Chiefs for sure. Let's see here. We also have another one here. We have the pitchers and catchers
of the
Phillies reported today. Gotcha. And then also from let's see here. Jonathan on this one, Joe Fisher, Phillies, KDU opening day due March 31st. Is it on 31st opening day? I think it's a little sooner than that. I think they actually have the first game is going to be happening in mid March. Correct me if I'm wrong on that there, Greg, when the Dodgers and Cubs play in Tokyo.
Yeah.
I think it's mid-March. I think it's the 21st or actually sooner than that because they only have 4 weeks of spring training, the Dodgers do.
Right.
So I think the Cubs are in the same situation there. But anyway, and then I think when they come back, I think it is March 31st that the regular opening day is. A little side note there. I think it's a little unfair that the Dodgers have had to do that 2 years in a row. They had to play in South Korea last year, and now this year they have to play in Tokyo. I know half their team's from there, but still,
It would still inconvenience everybody else.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so we'd love to hear from you folks on that. Let us know what you think when it comes to the Shohei Ohtani rule, and do you think it affects the team? Let's go ahead and move on over and talk a little bit more about Shohei. So with the pitchers and catchers reporting,
let's go ahead and move along and talk about Shohei again.
we know it gets views in this channel for sure. What are you expecting from Shohei Ohtani this year as a pitcher?
So, I mean, obviously, Shohei is slated to return, right? He took last year off. He had his second TJ surgery. And I think it's got to raise some concerns for Dodgers fans, baseball fans alike, right? Pretty much everybody that's a fan of watching Shohei be a two-way player. There's been multiple guys that have gotten their second TJ surgery, and most of them never returned to previous form. Mm-hmm. Some of them never returned to baseball at all.
Yeah,
right. So, I mean, there's an obvious exception, right? Nathan Eovaldi with the Rangers. He's had 2 TJ surgeries. He had a great season last year, 12-8 record, 3.8 ERA, 166 strikeouts. Just signed a new contract with the Rangers on 3 years, $75 million. So there's one,
right?
But there hasn't been that many, right? So Eovaldi's definitely the outlier. And my question to you is, do we expect Shohei to be back to his previous form? And then secondly, how quickly do the Dodgers pull him out of the rotation if there's any signs of him not performing like they'd hoped?
Oh my gosh. So the second part of that I'm going to actually have to think on. The first part of that's pretty simple. I think we can't expect him to be the 97, 98 Ohtani like we got before.
You can't expect it.
I wouldn't expect it.
Okay.
If there is a player that can do it, it's Shohei Ohtani. He's a freak athlete.
Absolutely.
You know, if there's a player that can do it, it's going to be him. And as a kind of a correction there, his second surgery wasn't actually Tommy John surgery. He had that brace, that new UCLA brace, not
Okay.
UCLA,
Right.
UCL brace that isn't technically Tommy John, but it's kind of like Tommy John. Had a faster recovery time, and it's supposed to strengthen it, so it's supposed to be better.
Fact is, they went into his elbow, cut some shit apart, reattached some shit. He's a professional baseball player.
Exactly. So yeah, what I'm actually looking forward to is maybe we see something similar to what we saw with Walker Buehler. You know, he did come back from a second Tommy John, tried to be the same player he was before, and just kind of got rocked for a while there.
Yeah.
Until he realized that, you know what, I don't need to rely on that high 97-mile-an-hour fastball hype in the zone.
Right.
You know, I could use my off-speed pitch, my knuckle curve, and really kind of set people up. And then 95.
There's going to be a point where you have to rely on control over velocity.
Yeah, it's something that every pitcher has to deal with. You know, eventually, you know, your stuff's going to diminish, your fastball is going to drop. And in just this case, it's going to be a little sooner. If Shohei Ohtani wants to continue pitching for the rest of his contract, which is what his goal is, to pitch till he's like 39, 40 years old, he's going to have to rediscover himself as a pitcher and rely on some more off speed stuff versus just trying to gut it. So I'm thinking that's going to be more of what we're going to see from him. Now, to answer the second part of your question, which is nice, by the way, that's a great question. He did not tell me about this question ahead of time, so this is going to be me just trying to figure it out. I don't know, man. I think if Shohei Ohtani has to wear a 5 ERA for a couple months, they're going to let him do it.
Yeah.
I think as long as the bat's not being affected, but I guarantee you, they pull him out of the starting rotation, his bat will probably be affected. So they're going to let him kind of ride for a while, unless he gets hurt, unless there's some obvious signs of wear and tear and injury. They probably see this guy go for a little bit there, I think.
I think I agree. I think they're going to accept that there's going to be some rust on Shohei. And if as long as he's not hurting, but underperforming, I think they just continue to ride him just because it's going to do, I think, huge. It's going to pay a bunch of dividends for his confidence, right?
Mm-hmm.
To be back out there pitching and hitting, doing Shohei things like Shohei's supposed to, I think that's worth it to let him be out there and struggle for a little while.
No, I think you're right, man. I think he's gonna figure it out. If there's a player out there that's gonna figure it out, it's gonna be Shohei Ohtani. Joe Fisher, you got another comment here saying, "Oops, I was wrong." Oh, sorry, I skipped one. This one's saying the same thing though. Looks like March 27th is the first game for the Phillies and the Nationals. So my guess is opening day is going to be the end of March. So you're spot on that. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. But yeah, so I think it's a good question, man. I think as long as he comes back and tries to pitch and figures out a way that he can be effective and doesn't rely on the fastball, I think he's in a good spot. I think.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how his control is, and velocity might be a little bit down. I don't think that's the thing. He's shown great control over his career, and I think there's always going to be a mental block for some players just knowing that it's Shohei up there.
Yeah, I think it's true. You got anything else on baseball?
No, that's what I got, man.
All right, we do have to do one more thing here before we get out of here, and that's me gonna have to eat some crow, man. I was wrong on something.
What was it?
So in a previous video and in a rotation video, we'll link to the video down below. I said maybe Roki Sasaki will be the 6th starter and that he won't be a starter in Japan. He might pitch, might come out of a bullpen.
I saw this.
Dave Roberts came out and he said it's likely that Sasaki and Yamamoto are going to be pitching.
The 2 starters, yeah.
Yeah, for that game. So I was wrong, folks.
Well, there's only one game. So the 2 pitchers for the game.
No, 2 games. There's 2
games.
There's
2 games.
Yeah.
The 2 starters.
Yeah, are going to be Japanese pitchers playing in pitching in Japan. So I thought I was wrong there. I thought the horrible experience Yamamoto had in Korea was a good enough indication that you want to give your rookie pitchers a nice landing spot at home and, not necessarily be. But I guess in Tokyo, that's where they're from. And he's pitched a lot and had some success there in the World Baseball Classic. So
yeah.
He could be in a different situation than Yamamoto was in South Korea for sure. So I just used my best knowledge on this team and what I saw. The fact that he signed a minor league contract, that he is still on the prospect list, and that it would be one of the first games in a short spring training that he's going to be on. I didn't think we'd see him pitch at all, and I guess I was wrong. Dave Roberts is going to have him start.
Dude's a ball player.
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, I think that kind of is what it comes down to. And the fact is if you have an opportunity to put a player of that caliber for that country on the field, and I think it's more paying respect to the Japanese fans that are going to be there to say, look who we got.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be out there. You're going to get to see them first things.
Oh yeah, it's just probably another one of those things. If you think long term, the Dodgers are trying to take over Japan, and what better chance than start your 2 Japanese starting pitchers to kind of solidify them as being Japan's team for sure.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Well, once again, if you are watching this on YouTube, we'd like to appreciate it. Thank you for watching this episode of the DNA Sports Recap. If you have not yet considered subscribing to the channel, please consider doing so. Subscribe to this channel. Hit that like button for your boy AJ right over there. We are giving the first $500 that we earn in AdSense revenue back to our subscribers. So if you've not yet, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, so you don't miss out on that giveaway.
Absolutely. And if you're watching on YouTube on one of our short videos, just know this is available, the whole episode, on our podcast section on YouTube.
With all that said, my name is Darren, that is AJ, and this has been an episode of the DNA Sports Recap.
Till next time.